Yo, yo! That was a pretty good one. Ask the Boss is back. Meaty, what number Ask the Boss is this?
I thought you figured it out.
I thought I'd give you one job to figure out what. I think this is like episode 15.
It's been a while, man.
Let's go episode 15. But it's been a while, but we're back. I got some new core gear that we're trying out here too. Let's start with that. So these are new, like just super soft, super comfortable, just long sleeve tees. Of course, the crushing on the back. And then this other little project. Show them the hamstring.
Sweet.
Look at that. Look.
Hanging.
So these are, I'm not a jogger guy, but anyways, these are new core joggers that we're working on. Had to tweak some things, but looks like we'll be having these available in 3 months, let's say. 2 months?
It's going to be summer. You can wear joggers in summer, though.
Yeah. A little too tight for meaty thighs and I, but I know everyone likes them, so we're going to do some joggers. Anyways, to the questions.
All right.
Oh, by the way, we're at Manassas Nutrition Corner today.
This happens every time.
All right, we're back.
All right.
Let's get into the questions now, Meaty.
All right, the first question. As CEO, how do you approach finding the right people to hire for your companies? Thanks in advance, crush it. But there's also a couple questions that pertain to this as well. What's your thoughts on marketing degree versus other business studies? Do you come up, no. As an employer, would you rather see education or experience on a person's resume?
All right, so this is asking what am I looking for in an employee, basically, and what do I think about education versus experience. So number one, I think education is more of just that diploma just shows that basically you have the ability to learn, you have the ability to problem solve. In terms of degrees, I really personally like technical degrees, like somebody who, studies a science or a math or something like that. It shows they have the ability to problem solve. At the same time, it really just depends on the job that I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a sales guy, maybe a liberal arts degree, somebody in marketing or communications would be, the better outlet. Some of the best salespeople are not even that technical, and they don't even know the science, the deep science behind things. Some of your really brilliant problem solvers or science or math people might be great to work at the back end and do web stuff and things like that, but they're not good with people. So at the end of the day, education telling you a degree, it really comes down to what is the job you're looking for. You need to study in the field that you're looking for or develop skills in that field. But I really don't look at education that much. Yeah, sure, I'll look at what degrees you have and stuff like that, but I'm looking more for, number one is passion. Passion is the most important thing that I'm looking for. So, it's the passionate people that are very successful. All right, guys, so I just wanted to add one more thing into this video that I forgot to mention. I made a post on Facebook the other day that we're looking for more people for our team. We've got a lot of actually phenomenal applications, so that's awesome, but keep them coming. We have 7 stores now. We were going to take a little break this year and just try to open maybe 1 to 2 later in the year, but some great opportunities have come up to grow the Nutrition Corner chain and help grow our Core Nutritionals team. Number one, we're going to be moving our warehouse up to Northern Virginia, close to us in Sterling. For Core, that's going to happen in June, and there'll be some opportunities related to that. But for now, there's a chance that we could open up to, scary to think about, 6 stores this year. I don't know. I mean, I at least see four that are very plausible. And then who knows what else is going to come. So with that, we need great people. That's what makes us stores. It's the great people that we have, which keeps people coming back. So if you're really passionate about health and fitness, supplements, this industry, working out, helping others, hit me up. If you're tired of just working that day job that is not fulfilling, it's not your passion, hit me up. If you're already in the industry and you want to change, hit me up. We have an amazing team. We have a lot of fun, but we work really hard. This is a hard job. It's a grind, but I think everyone who works here knows how rewarding it is. So just the other things to mention, some of the logistics or the perks, we're offering salary-based management positions, fully paid gold status, care first, medical and dental, insurance, 401k matching, free subs, discounted subs, all of that. So there's a lot of perks to this, but this is not an easy job. You got to love this, and we got to see your passion to be a part of the team. So if you're interested, message below on this YouTube, or message me at Doug at Core Nutritionals or Doug at thenutritioncorners.com. Hit me up. We were talking about the most important things for hiring. Passion was the number one thing that I really look for. If you're not passionate about what you do, you just won't have that motivation to really grind hard. So passion is number one. Two is experience. Experience is really important. At the end of the day, you can have all the education in the world, but if you don't have that experience, you're not going to really make progress and do extremely well until you get that experience. So I really look for passion, experience, and then education is the third. Not that I don't really believe in education, because I do. It's just those are the first two: passion and experience.
Cool.
All right, Meaty, let's go.
Ready?
Yep.
Instagen 007. Things I'd like to hear your viewpoint on. How many years did it take you to get into peak physical form once you devoted yourself to bodybuilding? 2,
Let's take them one at a time.
Okay.
So, peak physical form. I don't know.
How long did it take you to get in the sexy form that you're in right now?
But I don't even understand. Is that for like getting ready for a show, or like I like to feel like I'm not at my peak. I like to feel like I continue to make progress, right? Like, so I don't know
it's
what.
Never ending, right?
So it's been I've been training since I was 17, and I'm 37 now, so that's 20 years. My best showing was in 2014, so I was 35 years old. So I mean, it takes years as a natural athlete to really put on all that muscle. So I definitely, I don't even know how to answer that question. Anyways, part number 2.
How has becoming a bodybuilder affected your self-image and relationships? She's a very interesting question.
My self-image. I think anyone who does bodybuilding has a little bit of a dysmorphia, I think. I still feel like I'm skinny. I'm small. I'm a 135-pound swimmer. I was, in high school. So, you gonna wave hi for the camera? So I think, competing definitely kind of messes with you, and you see it a lot in women who will get eating disorders after dieting down. But really, it's not just women. I think guys struggle with it a lot. I mean, it's even even for myself, going from completely deathly shredded, which is not is not maintainable, to putting on a healthy body fat level. It's kind of a little bit depressing there for a little bit, especially when your macros aren't that high yet and you're doing that reverse dieting phase. That's difficult. So it is a mentally challenging thing to deal with. And I think anybody in this sport has a little bit of a dysmorphia of how they view themselves. I think a little bit is okay. It's just you got to keep that under control. Luckily, I have, Steph, who will always keep me grounded. If I ever, I know not to say anything in front of her, because she'll just, she'll tell me straight up, like, you're an idiot, stop being like that, and she'll cut it off right from the start. But in terms of how does it affect, what was the second part of the question? How does it affect relationships?
Yeah.
Well, I think 2 things. I've seen this sport tear apart relationships. I think some people don't have what is the right word I'm looking for? The right perspective when going into a competition prep, so that they're just so focused on themselves that because it is such a selfish sport, that they lose that person that they're with. I mean, I've had clients go through divorces. I've had friends go through divorces. A lot around their love of the gym, or that person's love of the gym. So I think it really is important to, one, you have to have a spouse or significant other that is, if not in the sport, because unless you're in the sport, you don't really understand it, but at least understanding, and you have to create some flexibility in your schedule. You can't just be this rigid, Tupperware bodybuilder all the time if you really want to make a relationship work, especially with somebody who is not in the same game that you're in. So it's hard, and I've seen it tear apart relationships. It just comes down to communication with that spouse or the significant other.
Cool. Moving on.
Yep.
Will Core Nutritionals have a booth during the Mr. Olympia in September?
Heck yeah, we'll have a booth.
Right on.
I wish I had the number to tell you, but yeah, we'll have.
Jesper from Sweden wants to know.
Yeah, we'll have what was it, the Olympia or the Arnold Classic?
He says Olympia. I mean,
Oh,
we'll
so
definitely go
heck
meet.
no, we're not going to have a booth at the Olympia. The Olympia is horrible in terms of return on investment. It's only 2 days long. It's more expensive. It's about a third of the people that are at the Arnold Classic. So heck no, we're not going to have a booth at the Olympia. Heck yes, we're going to have a booth at the Arnold. We have some amazing deals lined up for the Arnold Classic. So if any of you are going to be at the Arnold, definitely stop by our booth. I mean, just totally stupid deals, actually. So we'll have the whole crew there as well, and going to be doing some training and some videoing and all sorts of cool stuff. So looking forward to it.
Right. Rasmus Lind, how did you build your hanging ass hamstrings? Meaty thighs, you can also answer.
Oh, angle.
I would say
Years and
deadlifts,
years.
bro.
Years and years of deadlifting. Honestly, I think I usually do deadlifts for back on back day, and then I'll have my own hamstring day. So it's a combination of high rep deadlifts and just hammering away at the hammies for 20 years. I didn't have the hang or the depth or the thickness when I first started bodybuilding. If you go on my website, which hasn't been updated for literally 5 or 6 years, which I'm gonna work on in this 2017, I promise. But there's some pictures of me in 2002, my first competition, and you'll notice I didn't have hamstrings. I didn't have the lines in the side. I mean, that's just years of hammering away. Squats, deadlifts, specific hamstring day, splitting up your legs into 2 days a week, I think is really important. So all of the above.
Cool. Let's see. Are the squat, barbell, bench, and deadlift necessary for a bodybuilder to perform?
No. Next question. Now, let me say that a little bit more. So you don't have to squat, you don't have to deadlift, and you don't have to bench press to have a great physique. And I think some people get set in that, especially if you have an injury or that really aggravates things. Why would you keep doing those exercises? So I don't believe in that, and I don't think you should limit yourself mentally to just those exercises. I've seen some people with incredible legs that just never squat. Now, I think they're extremely important, but I don't have a great chest, but I don't do flat barbell bench. I just don't do it. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I mean, I'll do it, once every 8 weeks or something like that. I just don't like doing it. I do a lot of incline barbell, but I don't do flat. So you don't have to do a given exercise to be a great bodybuilder. You got to do what works for you. Everyone has different body mechanics. Everyone has different shape. So, do what's going to work for you. Don't get caught up in or limiting yourself to just those exercises.
All right, with whom would you like to do a collab training session with? Person must be alive.
I think Ronnie 20 years ago.
Okay.
Wouldn't
that's
that be
fair, 'cause
amazing?
He's still alive. Yeah.
He's still alive.
At Metroflex.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've had some of my best workouts on like the Gains Tour. I don't need an individual or a superstar to get me fired up for a workout. I enjoy working out with just everyday gym goers just as much as I do celebs or whatever you want to call it. So, I've had some really good workouts on the Gains Tour. So I don't necessarily need to train with anyone in particular, but I think it would be pretty awesome. I think Ronnie or I think Tom Platz. I think that would be epic, and doing a leg day with Tom Platz. Like, did you see him squatting the other day at 62? He had like 5 plates on there, and he was doing the ass to grass squats. It was crazy. At 62 years old.
No, I'll look it up.
Yeah. Anyways, so Ronnie, Tom Platz.
Cool. All right, Colin the Great customer of VBNC.
Yeah, buddy.
When it comes to training philosophies, what's the one thing you wish you would have implemented early on in your competitive bodybuilding career?
Rest days and more prehab rehab. Not necessarily rest days, but kind of, when I was in my early 20s, if something hurt, I would train through it. I didn't train around it. And I didn't do all the stuff that I do now to stay, healthy in terms of foam rolling, deep tissue, active release. I mean, I did some of that, but it wasn't until I started getting little aches and pains at 25 or something that I started that. I wish I started that mobility and stuff like that from day one when I started training. So I think probably those things, would have made a difference. Keep them rolling, meaty. Let's go.
All right.
I got the pre-workout in my veins.
You mentioned before that you tried different training programs. Which program served you best in terms of strength gains? Also, do you remember when was the first time you deadlifted 500 pounds? And how many years it took you to deadlift that weight for 20 reps? People try to get them in.
20. I don't know the answer to when was the first time I deadlifted let's call it 495 plates.
Okay.
But I would guess, 2004.
You bring the notebooks out?
I could bring the notebooks. I have a stack of notebooks this high of every workout, so I could go back and answer that question. But when I first started training deadlifts, I was at a point where I could do, and I'm kind of this way even now, I mean, I could do 405 for 17 reps pretty early on when I was young. But you put 495 on there and I'd shit the bed. So, I don't know. I've always been better at the high rep deadlift, so I don't know. What were the other questions? There's so many in there.
How many years it took you to deadlift that weight for 20 reps?
For 20, well, shoot, I just did it like a year or within the past year or two. So it took me about 20 years of training to do it. So 1 rep a year. My goal, by the way, is 405 for 40 by the time I'm 40.
What do you think? What you got? How many years you got?
3 years.
Where you at? 30? You can get 31, 2.
Yeah, my best I've done 32, but I don't really train for it. I just kind of like, I'll be like, all right, fuck it, I'll do a high rep set.
Start training for it. Let's see it.
8 more reps in 3 years.
That's like, that'll go on Guinness.
I think I'd have to have bumper plates. Do I get bumper plates?
No. You can have a platform, but no bumper. How about that? How about that?
How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? All right, anyways, come on.
Let's move on.
1 or 2.
How much volume is too much?
That's very specific to the individual. I think some people can handle more. I think the average person can handle more volume than they think. I don't think they push hard enough or incorporate as much volume as they could. With that being said, if you're not eating or sleeping or supplementing right, all that volume is kind of worthless. So it really depends on a lot of factors. Generally, I think people could train more.
All right, when prepping for a show, what is your ratio of
Speak louder, meaty, so the people can hear you.
When prepping for a show, what is your ratio of diet to cardio? Is it 70% to 30%? Are you someone who is more calorie restricted but less cardio, or vice versa? Also, what type of cardio do you normally do during a cut?
List cardio for me. I do recommend HIIT cardio for others. For me, it just I don't want to get intense to do my cardio. I'd rather save that for the weights. So I will do list cardio. The most I generally get up to do in cardio is an hour a day. I try to do that more along the lines of at 6 to 8 weeks out. So I would probably say maybe 5 hours a week would be the most I would do cardio. And that would be 5 to 6 hours a week. And that would be probably, I'd like to shoot to have that peak around 5, 6, 7 weeks out, and then actually cut back on cardio as I get closer to a show. All right, 2 more.
Okay, I don't understand the example of 70% diet, 30% cardio.
I think that's just Do
you focus more on one or the other?
I mean, I try to do as little cardio as possible. Cardio sucks. So.
Amen. Somebody has a specific question to them. When cutting from 17% to 12%...
Speak louder, meaty.
They can hear me.
Okay. Watch.
They know the
Comment below if you can't hear meaty, or you can't hear me, because everyone complains about the volume. So.
When cutting from 17 to 12%...
You know what? Hold on. We need to get the little recording mics.
We got to get wireless.
We got to get a Bluetooth, wireless.
Yeah.
All right. So somebody link below a good link. That doesn't even make sense. Somebody put below a link to a good wireless mic that will link up to an iPhone. All right, ready to go.
When cutting from 17 to 12% at roughly 2,500 maintenance calories, how low will my calories need to be, and how low can they safely be before muscle loss becomes a concern? Hire you.
What's that?
I said hire you.
Yeah, so I mean, like, work with a good coach to help you through that. Everyone's different. Not knowing everything about you, I don't know how much what your activity levels are at. I don't know a lot of things about you. So to answer that question, unfortunately, I don't know. I say get a good coach. Sorry about that.
Somebody asked, what's a natural bodybuilder diet like? And somebody asked, what's a good split for a natural bodybuilder?
Wow.
And those are 2 different questions, and that's it. So this is your last one.
A good diet, again, that comes down to the person. You need to first figure out what are your macronutrient needs. So exactly how much protein, carbs, and fat you need. Start with a gram per pound of body weight as a good place to start. Do 20 to 25% of your calories from fat and fill the rest in with carbs. Try it out for a week, see if you lose weight or see if you gain weight, and adjust from there. Figure out your baseline. Stick to whole foods as opposed to nutrient less dense foods like Pop-Tarts and shit like that. It's occasionally you can work those into your diet, but stick with more of your bro foods for, I would say, 80 to 90% of your food, and then sneak in a yummy treat every now and again. And then the second question was a good training split. Really depends on the person again. I mean, I give different splits for different clients and different goals. And me personally, I love the bro split. I love training one body part a day, really going in there, attacking it. There is some conflicting studies on whether or not that's the most optimal way to train. I enjoy training that way. I feel I train better that way. So that's the way that most of the time I train. I would say probably 65 to 70% of the time I train like a bro. Right now I'm doing a multiple body parts a day, hitting a multiple times a week split. So things change for me. So you got to try different splits and figure out which one you make the most gains on. Is that it, maybe?
It's a wrap.
Do you want to say anything to the camera?
I appreciate you guys. Keep the comments coming.
Well, they want to see the meaty thighs. Back up. Show them the meaty thighs.
It's a meaty thigh sandwich.
All right, until next time, keep crushing it.